So the gameplay trailer for Battlefield 6 dropped recently, and I gotta say, guys, I'm pretty excited about this one. It's been a while since we've had a very good Battlefield game come out, and yeah, this left a pretty big void in the FPS shooter market, I'd say, because honestly, these past few years, it's just been rehashed Call of Duty games, and there hasn't been like a really good Battlefield game, something that give you that nice warfare environment, destruction everywhere, just massive maps and players running around, just complete chaos, right? Last time I felt that way was during Battlefield 1. I didn't really get too much into Battlefield 5, and then, as you guys all know, Battlefield 2042 was an was a total flop. But Battlefield 6, from all the trailers I'm seeing, it looks promising, guys. I want to remain optimistic here, and I'm really rooting for them here, that DICE and EA hit a home run with this one, because I think this is going to be the final nail in the coffin if they don't succeed here. So at this point, I'm rooting for them. I'm pretty sure everyone agrees with me when I say that we all want a good Battlefield like the good old days. And for this video, what I wanted to do was talk about the PC system requirements that they've listed on their website. It looks like they're still working on rolling out some more details about that, but they've put up some specs and it looks pretty promising. So we're going to be talking about that and, getting into it and just, talking about the hardware requirements and what it will take to run this game and what we can expect. Let's talk about it.
Hey, if you enjoy content like this, drop a like, make sure to subscribe, and smash that bell so you never miss another video.
Hey, what is going on, guys? Danny here. Welcome back to the channel, and I hope you've all been doing well. So Battlefield 6 looks like EA and DICE have finally announced it. Well, they did announce it a while ago, but looks like they've dropped some gameplay trailers and some more information just recently. And it looks like they're going to be releasing the game on October 10th of this year, so a couple months from now. And I'm really looking forward to it. As you guys know, Battlefield 2042 was just a complete and utter flop. I didn't even actually purchase it. I played the open beta and actually uploaded a few videos back when the open beta was going on for 2042. Just to do some play testing and some benchmarking and, just to get a feel of the game. And I was really just bummed out by the way it turned out. It just felt bland. It had like essential features missing from it. You couldn't even open up a scoreboard. The operator system that they had going for it just didn't work out. And yeah, it was just a complete mess of a game. I think from what I know, they did provide quite a bit of updates and try to steer that ship around. But unfortunately, the damage was already done. And then I think like halfway through, they just completely abandoned that game. And I think all resources just went to Battlefield 6 for, a redemption here. And I'm hoping that a redemption is what actually happens here. So what I wanted to do with you guys is just talk about the PC specifications and the system requirements that they have in this game. And what I was looking at when I was going through the facts is that it says that we will be revealing more PC-specific details as we get closer to launch, but our goal is to have the game perform well across a solid spectrum of hardware. We are also collaborating closely with our hardware partners to ensure a smooth experience while taking advantage of the latest features and enhancements. And when it comes to DICE, they do a pretty phenomenal job when it comes to optimizing for their hardware. Battlefield 1 ran very smoothly when it released. I remember playing that game on an RX 480, and yeah, it ran beautifully. And then later on a 1080 Ti, the game ran like a dream. Then with Battlefield 5, that was actually one of the first games to introduce ray tracing in 2018 when, ray tracing was the big thing. And if you didn't really do ray tracing, the game ran pretty well on most hardware. And then Battlefield 2042, despite all the flaws that it had, in terms of performance, I didn't really have any complaints there. It actually ran pretty decently. I remember trying it out on a 3090 and then also on my RTX 2080, which, I guess was a fairly high-end hardware back then. But, from what I heard, performance-wise, didn't really hear too many complaints about it. But when it comes to Battlefield 6, it's going to be interesting to see how they position this, right? Because with all the technologies that we have, upscaling and ray tracing, path tracing, what direction is DICE going to take here? And, when it comes to multiplayer games like this, right? What's the goal here, right? With multiplayer games, you want to have get as many players on board as possible, right? You want a big, large player base. And from what I hear with EA and their recent investor reports and their earnings call, like with Battlefield 6, they have some pretty ambitious goals. They want to get as many people as possible playing this game. So how do you do that? Well, you got to make it accessible to players. You got to make sure that the game runs on a whole slew of hardware. And I think that's what they're really going for, because they did list some PC specs and system requirements on the website. I mean, this could be subject to change, and they did say from their facts that they are going to be adding some more details as we come closer to launch. And yeah, from what I'm seeing here, things look pretty bare bones, but it looks promising. So I guess we'll start off with the minimum PC system specifications, right? And from what I'm seeing here, it looks like for the CPUs, they've got a AMD Ryzen 5 2600. So that's a Zen 2 based 6-core processor with hyper-threading, so 12 threads. And then on the Intel side, they've got the Intel Core i5 8400. So that's also a 6-core. So yeah, when it comes to Battlefield games, even going as far back as Battlefield 1 almost 10 years ago, they've been very multi-threaded. Like, I remember seeing back in the day when I played Battlefield 1, I had an i5 6600K, which was 4 cores, 4 threads. And I would see that all 4 cores get hammered to 100%. So it wasn't until I tried it with the 1800X and I was like, okay, yeah, now CPU utilization looks a lot more tame or a lot more reasonable. But yeah, Battlefield games have always been pretty multi-threaded. So yeah, minimum 6 cores, I can totally seeing that be a reasonable requirement. And I mean, 6-core processors, you can get them pretty dirt cheap, right? You don't need the latest and greatest. You can go for something like a 7600, or if you want to go back on AM4, a 5600 or 5600X. Those are still great CPUs, or an i5 12400. Those are still really, really good CPUs as well, right? And then when it comes to system memory, they're recommending 16 gigabytes for the minimum system requirements, which is fine. I think in this day and age in 2025, having 16 gigabytes really should be the bare minimum, right? I don't think 8 gigabytes really cuts it anymore. So yeah, 16 gigabytes, I think that's still totally reasonable. And then for the GPUs, this is where it actually kind of surprised me, because I was thinking that they would probably be recommending something like an RTX 3060 Ti for the minimum, or 3060, but actually they're recommending a 2060. And then on the AMD side, they're recommending the RX 5600 XT. So these are some pretty low-end GPUs now. Like, even a $250 RTX 5050 would run circles around these two GPUs. Now, I really wish that with their minimum system requirements section over here, that they did list what sort of settings they were targeting, right? Like, is this 1080p low settings? And they also don't mention upscaling, right? So I know a lot of games have been also doing that lately with their system requirements when they release those, that certain section or that performance target is being met with some sort of upscaler being enabled, right? So yeah, I'm wondering if they're going to be revealing more information and more details as we come closer to launch. But I mean, if this is just, 1080p, 60 FPS, low settings, I think these are pretty reasonable settings. Hey there, guys. Editing Danny here. So it looks like they actually gave us some more information as I was editing this video, which is great because, the questions that I had about the recommended settings, they've been answered here. So it looks like for the minimum preset, what they're actually doing is giving these specifications if you're targeting 1080p at 30 FPS using low settings. So that does change a few things. I was expecting that they were probably targeting 1080p at 60 FPS using low settings. So yeah, I mean, if you're probably want to go for 1080p 60 FPS with like medium settings, you're probably going to want to get something like a 3060, or on the AMD side, you're probably going to want something like an RX 6600 XT. So yeah, that does change some stuff here, but I mean, like, the 2060 came out in 2018, 5600 XT came out in 2019. So these are pretty old graphics cards. So, I don't think it's unreasonable for them to be saying that, yeah, these are 1080p 30 FPS cards. The other thing too is they also list the RAM frequency here. And if you enter the PC market just recently and you're wondering why it's so low, that's because this is DDR4. Same thing with the recommended section as well. So they have, and it's interesting here because over here they actually list balanced and then performance. And I'm not sure if they're actually referring to an upscaler over here, or if they're just saying that if you want a balanced experience, you're going to want 1440p at 60 FPS using high settings, or if you want like a performance experience, if you're going for all-out performance, then with those specifications, you're going to want to target 1080p, 80 FPS plus with low settings. I think that's what they're going for, because if this was talking about an upscaler, then they would have listed FSR or DLSS over here. But I don't think that's the case. They've also actually included some Intel GPUs too. So on the minimum, it's the A380, and then on the recommended, it's the B580. So yeah, not too much has changed, but I'm glad to see that they did actually list those specifications according to what performance, target, and resolution they were going for, or system requirements. And yeah, like it's going to be running on DirectX 12, and then we can see here that the hard drive requirement is 50 gigabytes, which is interesting because when we now go over to the recommended PC system requirements, we're seeing here that they've listed 80 gigabytes when you're using an SSD. So I'm not sure why there's a difference in size there. Like, it doesn't matter if you do, I don't know, like high at 1440p or low at 1080p 60. I think the hard drive size or the storage requirements should still remain the same. But in any case, let's take a look at the recommended PC system requirements. So in terms of the processors, they're listing the AMD Ryzen 7 3700X, so that's Zen 2, and I do want to correct myself. For the 2600, I said that was Zen 2, but that was actually Zen Plus, so that was a bit of a refresh from Zen 1. So Zen 2 is the 3000 series, and then Zen 3 was the 5000 series. It's been a while, but yeah, Zen 2, 8-core processor with 16 threads. I still see a lot of people are still rocking a processor like that. And yeah, you have the equivalent i7 10700. Now, actually, the 10700 was actually quite a bit faster than Zen 2. That was what, Coffee Lake or the Coffee Lake refresh, right? So I know those were more on par with Zen 3. So it's kind of interesting that they, instead of listing the 5800X here or 5700, they're listing a 3700X. So that needs a little bit of a correction there. But yeah, I think for recommended PC system requirements, I think the main takeaway is you want a processor with at least 8 cores and 16 threads, and at least Coffee Lake or Comet Lake level IPC. And then for memory, we're still actually at 16 gigabytes, so that's still interesting. So probably not too memory intensive. And then for the GPUs, now I was expecting a pretty big jump over here, but now for the recommended, they're actually listing the RTX 3060 Ti, so Ampere, and then the RX 6700 XT. So these two GPUs, yeah, they're about on par with each other, right? They trade blows. When you take a look at like benchmarks online, they were released around the same time during that generation. So yeah, they are about on par with each other. And yeah, I mean, it's interesting that they list these two graphics cards for the recommended PC system requirements, because in this day and age, like in 2025, these would be considered pretty these would be like entry level cards. Like I said, the RTX 5050 or even a 5060 would be faster than these two GPUs. Yeah, I mean, I think it goes back to what we were talking about before, right? Where DICE and EA, they're just trying to make this game as accessible as possible, and I think that's a good move on their part, because realistically, when it comes to like multiplayer games, guys, I'll be honest, like for me personally, I really don't care about visual fidelity at all. Like I'm going into the settings menu and dropping everything down to like low or medium, because I'm trying to maximize my FPS and just have a overall smooth and consistent time, so I could just have fun and be able to compete, right? But yeah, like 6700 XT and a 3060 Ti, those are totally fine, and I think this really opens the door for allowing a lot of people to enjoy this game when it comes out. And then apart from that, yeah, everything else is the same. Online connection requirements, that's obviously going to be there. It's an online multiplayer game. But yeah, I think we're going to be getting more information as we come closer to launch. I think this isn't everything that they're going to be showing here. They're probably going to make a better chart that we've seen from other developers, where they'll have actual presets like 1080p low or 1440p medium or 1440p high and then 4K high. And there might be a separate section for like ray tracing, right? The last two Battlefields, they had ray tracing in them, so I don't foresee Battlefield 6, not to have ray tracing. And if you do want to dabble into that, it might be cool. What's going on here? Anyways, so yeah, I mean, I can't. I don't know if they said that they're gonna have a campaign. I guess we could quickly take a look at that. Let's see over here. Modes. Global scale campaign. So, yeah, I mean, it looks like they probably will have a single player campaign. And in that scenario, yeah, if you want to crank everything to high and enjoy the eye candy and, you know, turn on ray tracing, then yeah, I mean, in that scenario, it totally makes sense. I would do that. But when it comes to multiplayer, yeah, I'm just turning off everything and keeping it on low and medium and just maximizing a high FPS. But yeah, I mean, that pretty much covers what we know so far in terms of the PC system requirements. It looks promising, guys. Like, it's nothing too crazy over here. So they're making the game very, very accessible so far. So, I mean, if you're running on old hardware from like 5-6 years ago, right? Like on a 30 series GPU or even a 20 series GPU, you know, don't be discouraged from looking into this game because I think it's going to run very well on a wide variety of hardware. And like I said, play around with settings. You don't need to constantly be worrying about trying to max out every game or running ultra or max or epic settings. In fact, I'll give you a little bit of a preview, but my next video kind of focuses on this subject, so I'm not going to give too much away on that. But yeah, be on the lookout because that's going to be a pretty interesting video. But I think that pretty much covers everything I wanted to talk about. Just wanted to make this quick video and give my thoughts on, you know, Battlefield 6. It's a game I am very, very much looking forward to because I've just been totally tuned out of the multiplayer FPS scene, right? Like, I played a bit of Black Ops 6 last year, or this year, like when it came out. Oh no, last year, it came out in late last year, right? So yeah, I played a little bit late last year and then try to dabble into some games here and there when I'm bored. But honestly, yeah, like, I've just been tuned out, and yeah, I just want a good grounded Battlefield experience this time. Like, it's just been so long since we've gotten a good Battlefield game that, you know, it encompasses like chaos, you know, destructive environments everywhere, just, yeah, all out full scale battle. That's what I want to see from a good Battlefield game. And yeah, from what I've been hearing from all the inside playtesting that's going on, and they are going to be actually hosting a couple of open beta sessions in August, so I'm going to be testing the game out and trying it out on some hardware and giving you guys my thoughts. Maybe I might do some live stream here and there. I don't know. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one because I want a good Battlefield. I want to kind of get into a fun FPS multiplayer shooter game. But for now, that's going to be wrapping it up for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed this little overview, and take care, and we'll touch base in the next one. Peace.
If you guys found this video to be informative and entertaining, then leave a like. Let me know your thoughts and comments down below. Be sure to check out the video description for cool links and ways to support the channel, such as using my Amazon affiliate link. And if you're interested in seeing more content like this, then consider subscribing. I'd greatly appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.